Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse live show with Quis from Sports Vibes TV. How you doing, brother?
Hey,
Welcome.
how's everything, George? Hope you're enjoying your Saturday so far.
I am. It's been a super chill Saturday. Just relaxing, watching lots of college basketball, which is fun, and reading everything there is to read about the Knicks. How about
Yeah.
you?
Been a lot going on with our New York Knicks. So yeah, I've been getting into some of the news articles, watching some of the press conferences and things like that.
Yeah. It's been fascinating.
hmm
I don't know about you, but I'm happy that Leon made a move early.
Yep. Set the market.
Yeah. I will say, I do think that it's possible he did this move to pull the fans' attention away from Julius Randle.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I mean,
He
they
is
were
an
probably,
agent. I'm pretty sure marketing is big.
yeah, market, yeah, it is. It's huge. And also, we know, and then there's Dolan. He's got to deal with his boss,
hmm
and he, for all we know, there was a discussion. Hey, you guys got anything we can do to take the the spotlight off Julius right now? He said, well, we've been talking about this trade. He said, just pull it.
Pull the trigger.
Pull the trigger. Why wait? So it was a smart move all the way around. It's a good move. Even if the Randall thing wasn't happening, it's still a smart move to do early, like last season. I always liked that about the Mets. I think Sandy was more prone to doing that, making moves earlier in the
As
do that
opposed to
early
waiting to the
June.
deadline.
Yeah, do that early June, mid-June trade that gets you that. First of all, you get that player for an extra amount of time. It helps your team, and then you still have time to make more moves if it worked or it didn't work. I like it, man. I like it. Let's shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for joining us today. Oh, there you go. I went on to check on the YouTube channel. I could hear myself talking. Yeah. It's so weird.
We've got Still Dre in chat. We've got K Sings. We surveyed 100 people. Salute to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cindy Nevins as well.
Yes. Hey, just to give you guys a little recap of what we're going to go over today. Today, we're going to talk about, obviously, we're going to preview the Atlanta game towards the end of this stream. But before that, we're going to talk about Cam and what his possible ceiling is. Like, what player are we actually getting? What can we best hope for? What can, be the floor? So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to talk about what should the Knicks do next after adding Cam. Now that we've added Cam, what's next? The deadline is less than a month away. Should we make a big move? Should we make little moves? What are our needs? We're going to get into that. And then Tommy Beer put out an article and he tweeted it out last night, proposing a trade between the Knicks and the Sacramento Kings. And we're going to dive into that proposal, which I found interesting, something worth looking at. But first, let's go in. Oh, wait, we got a super chat already. Awesome, man. Awesome. Actually, this fits right in with our whole thing right now. Hopefully, we'll see Reddish play tonight. Actually, unfortunately, we're not going to see. Yeah.
We'll see him on the bench because he did travel with the team, unlike Kemba, but he won't be playing tonight.
Yeah. What is? All right. Let's just. Well, we'll get the Kemba.
I threw a knuckleball. My bad.
Yeah, totally knuckleball. Oh man. All right. Yes. Well, I wish we could have seen Reddish tonight. That would have been awesome. I was bummed when I found out that he had an ankle sprain.
Yeah. I think he was out the game before we traded for him.
Yeah.
Maybe that might be why we got him for so cheap.
Maybe. Well, he has been injured in his career.
Yep.
That is one of the hurdles that he has to overcome. Well, let's get to it. Here we go. So, what is Cam Reddish's ceiling? I'm just gonna throw it to you, Quis. I'm gonna throw it to you, man. I'm just literally passing the hot potato right here.
Yeah, so I think Cam's ceiling is similar to that of the tweet I sent you from Nate McMillan himself, where he was saying he could be, a Paul George type of player, and I think this was a big move for the Knicks because you look at Cam, you look at his profile, 6'8", close to a 7-foot wingspan, and he has the skill set to be an elite wing defender. When you look at, foundational pieces to building a championship team, you want to look at, a legit starting point guard. And you also want to have that wing defender that can go up against, other elite perimeter playmakers and shut them down. And I know Cam hasn't been, the greatest defender entering the NBA, but he has all the physical tools to develop into that elite defender. So me personally, I think the biggest thing with this trade is what he can provide us on defense. We tried to have RJ step up into that role, and he's been admirable at that role, but I think
He's gotten
Cam is
better.
just a bigger
He's gotten
player.
better.
Yeah, he's gotten better, but I think Cam just has the physical tools that kind of makes him better in that role. So when you look at it defensively, Cam could be that lockdown defender for us at the 3. And also, talking about what he can do on offense, he moves fluid out there on the court. He can dribble, he can create for himself. He hasn't been able to knock down the mid-range shot as much as you would like, but if he's able to knock down that shot, same way we discussed with RJ, you're looking at a real offensive threat, a player that can create off the dribble, get into the paint, finish. He can knock down the 3. You have it up there. He's what is he shooting? Right around 38% from 3 this season, which is a career high for him. So he's trending in the right direction. And I just like this move because it kind of signals that, yes, we have a coach in Tom Thibodeau who's win now, but we're still looking at moves that are adding building blocks for the future. And I think Cam is exactly that piece.
All right. I thought that's an excellent breakdown on Cam. I think the PG comparison is. I mean, Jason M put in the chat the PG is a high bar. I could see more Harrison Barnes. Hey, also a contributor. Harrison Barnes contributed to winning a championship with the Warriors. So that's, I mean, to think that we could have gotten a player with that kind of ceiling for, unfortunately, Kevin Knox, who I'm bummed to see him gone, bummed that it didn't work out for him here. But I hope he gets a chance somewhere, wherever, even if he doesn't end up with Atlanta, sticking with them. But this is nice. This is nice to be able to flip basically Knox, who wasn't going to be brought back next season, and that highly protected Charlotte first round pick, which is basically a late first round pick because Charlotte's going to be a playoff team this year. So it will convey in 2022, and it'll probably be 20th at best, that pick, maybe 19th. So I think it's a good deal. But it comes with issues. I have been watching Cam Reddish play since college, even some in high school, and I hate to put it this way, but he's basically been a disappointment the whole time. And the fact that he was drafted 10th shows how much talent he actually has in him. It hasn't been brought out properly yet. They could be, a lot of times, depending on the team you're drafted by, there could be people in your way and you're not given the opportunity to basically get floor time so you can really become the player that you're supposed to be. We're seeing it with Obi a bit, Obi was drafted to a franchise that had a guy already at power forward that within just a few months of being drafted, the guy just took off, became an all-star, became a second team All-NBAer and one most improved player. So the path for Obi is, it's limited. Now for Cam, he had guys like Herter, he had Hunter, who he was drafted with, Bogdanovich. They had a lot of wings, but at the end of the day, if you play top level defense and you hit your shots and you make plays, you're going to get floor time. Now he finally got that this season because of COVID and other illnesses, and he scored 30 points twice, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, had a couple games where he dropped 30.
Yeah, you got a couple games. Yeah. The tweet that Quis was referring to, I'll just read it out loud. Steve Popper tweeted this out from Newsday. Nate McMillan just spoke of Reddish's potential and said he has Paul George type body and skills, but he said with the request to leave that explains why he was in a reduced role. Said has great potential and is a great kid. So we're talking about
choppy tweet.
It's a very choppy tweet. I was like, well, I think he means
darn the character limit.
Yeah. Type, body, and skills doesn't mean anything. I mean, seriously.
You got to put it all together.
Exactly. Because every prospect gets compared to somebody. They have XYZ. I mean, they were saying RJ has James Harden type, body and skills or vibe to him and stuff. So, but we'll see. I think this is an excellent trade for the Knicks. It does make me feel like it's just a part one. Just a part one. Now, before we move on, Eric Lou here has put in a super chat. Thank you so much, brother. The Reddish acquisition only makes sense if the Knicks have plans to make a trade, including one of our players that get regular minutes. Yes, you mean open up a lane for him.
That means Burks or Fournier.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, you know it's not going to be Grimes if you heard Tibbs in his press conference.
Yeah.
I love Grimes.
That was a relief.
Grimes. Said it twice.
Yeah, he said it twice. I and it was genuine.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a planned, I need to, speak positively about XYZ player. No, it just came out. I love Grimes. And of course he does. He was drafted for him.
Yep.
And
the front office also made sure that they didn't include Grimes in the deal. So that's another plus.
Yeah. Yeah. I got to commend them for holding off because another front office in years past might have done a move like that. So I'm glad we did not give up on Grimes because Grimes has tremendous potential as well. And he already is the defender that we hope Cam can be. How's that for irony?
Yeah. He's also the shooter that we hope Cam can be as well.
How's that for irony?
Yeah. But that's why it's nice if we can have a lineup with both of them out there on the court at the same time. Cam finding his shooting touch and the fact that he can put the ball on the floor and create for himself. That's something he can still do better than Grimes. So I think those two on the floor will give us a nice rotation that we can still have solid defense and solid three-point shooting. That's something that Tibbs preaches time and time again. So the fact that we kept Grimes, I think, is great. We just have to see how they gel out there on the court together.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, let's talk about how do we actually see this rotation now working? Let's say once everyone's healthy, and by everyone, I'm not including Rose in it because we still don't know what's going to happen with Derek. But
if you're not going to include Derek, you can't include Kemba because we really don't know what's going to go on with Kemba. At least Derek has a timetable.
Yeah. See, that's what's frustrating, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you think we should include them both?
Yeah. Well, what are we doing? Just the starters, or we're doing?
I was just thinking about what
10,
are we looking
rotation?
at? How is he even going to get floor time? Who's he going to We were just hinting at it before, but I really, I'm really curious because I'm not 100%. I'm not that sure.
Yeah, especially after listening to what Tibbs said during the press conference, which was an extreme buzzkill, talking about we already have a group of guys that are playing well together. You don't want to mess that up. He said we were talking about Kemba potentially coming back. And before we even get into talking about adding a player into the rotation, we got to work with what we already have coming back. So the fact that Tibbs made those two quotes, it really doesn't sound encouraging. But you look at the front office, we gave up a first-round pick. Of course, Kevin Knox isn't that big of a deal, seeing that he wasn't getting minutes. But we invested a first-round pick and a flyer on Cam. So I would expect him to get meaningful minutes so we can evaluate him and see what we have long-term.
Yeah, I agree with you. So let's say, so you were thinking second unit, he's not going to start. That's for sure.
Not initially. I would hope after the first 5-10 games he can earn his spot as a starter, but I don't see him being traded for.
That's hopeful. Right away. We got hopeful Quis here tonight.
Think about it. Look at the quote that we saw from Nate McMillan and what a lot of scouts are saying. He needs the ability to get on the floor and play in order for him to get better. So if we're going to make a trade and invest a first round pick in him, I don't see him just being a even swap for a Kevin Knox role where he's just going to sit at the end of the bench. I expect him to get meaningful minutes. And I know I said that Tibbs was a little bit of a buzzkill, but in that same press conference, he mentioned that he liked a lot of the things that Cam can bring, his size, the fact that he can play multiple positions. That he mentioned that that's very important in this league. So I expect Cam to get some minutes, and the most minutes he's going to be able to earn are going to come off of his performance. So if he's able to play well, I think you'll see him get 26, 27, 28 minutes out there. The only thing is, I don't think it'll come at the expense of Grimes. It'll come at the expense of Burks or Fournier.
Well, see, that's the tricky, sticky stuff. I mean, Burks. Here's what's happening right now, which is kind of nice. Fournier is coming on. Fournier is starting to connect. He's starting to hit his buckets. Burks is figuring out his role, and he's really delivering. And his defense. RJ, back-to-back 30-point games. Randall shook off that bizarre 2-point effort with the Celtics and had a nice game, the last game. Who else is playing well? Quickly shot is starting to come around. Quickly's, he's giving us that jolt of energy on the floor as a point guard. I mean, he made some, I rewatched the game. He made some excellent passes, man, in that game, the most recent game. Excellent passes. So the team and Nick and Thibs is right. The team is starting to gel a little bit. Now we're playing somewhat subpar competition in this stretch, but that's okay. Every team, you got to play the team that's put in front of you. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of move him in. And then Thibs said specifically, he said, teams don't play more than 10 guys or something like that.
Which is false, but that's the narrative he wants to run with. Feel free.
So he's announcing to us it's a 10-man or nothing. So, but for now,
he may also be announcing to other front offices that if you are going to try and pluck a player like Burks, it's going to cost you.
Yeah, I think Burks is probably on the market. It would make sense. I'm sure Thibs isn't happy about it. But teams that are fighting for playoff positioning, they could use a guy who's a playmaker, who can shoot the three, who can defend. And I think he's been traded three times in his career at the trade deadline.
At the trade deadline,
yeah, for that exact reason. I think I'm not 100%, but I know he's definitely been traded at least once, if not more. So this is interesting. All right, well then let's move on to.
We never got into the lineups, actually.
Oh yeah. Let's get into the lineups.
All right. So if it were me, I'd start Kemba just to get his trade value up. Then you would have RJ at the 2. Ideally, I'd have Cam elevated to the 3. Have him start at small forward. Allows us to move RJ back to 2, which I think is his more natural position. Then you'd have Julius Randle at the 4, and then you'd have Mitch at the 5. And then off the bench, you could have some collection of Quick, Burks, Fournier, Deuce. Come in, also Obi as well, and Nerlens Noel.
That's if Cam delivers and he earns that starting spot. I could see that kind of a lineup where we shift RJ back to his more natural spot, which is the 2. The only thing is, I fear that it's not going to be that easy.
Simple.
Yeah, that's simple.
Never is.
Yeah. So we're going to see like Kemba come back, like what we just saw. Kemba comes back, starts 5 games, and then he's out for another 10. So we're left in that weird limbo. And then D Rose, I'm expecting him back, let's say by the end of February, we should have him. Let's hope. So that's still about a month more. That's a lot of games we have to play without our starting point guard, either one.
Without our starting and our backup point guard.
Exactly. So it's
crazy. We've been playing majority of the season without those 2.
Yeah. Yeah. And you got to commend IQ. IQ's done a pretty good job when he's been
stepping up.
Yeah, stepping up. He actually has been stepping up. Which brings me to start thinking, like, should we just go that way?
With IQ as a starting point guard?
Yeah.
We can experiment with it. I think IQ has shown he's taken great strides in his defense. So he won't be a liability there. It's just going to be, is it going to be a game where he's making sound decisions and is his shot going to fall? Because his shot has still been hit or miss throughout the season. So hopefully if he is, inserted into the starting lineup and he starts to get some, familiarity actually being a starter and actually coming to the arena, getting prepared for the starter, I think he can definitely excel in that role.
Yeah. I think Imnawala Malik Dawada, I think I say it. I think they will trade Fournier before Burks. Well,
I think they want to trade Fournier before Burks, but I think Burks would be easier to deal based on his contract and production.
I agree. But it makes me think that one of those 2 guys has to be traded unless
we're flipping Cam.
Unless we flip Cam. And that's very possible.
It's possible, but it would be weird for them to put RJ out there, have him talk about the trade, and then have Tibbs talk about the trade, and then a week or two later just rip that up to shreds and move him on to another team. I think they really are investing in him, low risk, high reward type of move.
Yeah. Well, to me, I wouldn't be surprised though. I mean, this is the franchise that we signed Kemba and had a huge hoopla about him, and then he got benched.
I mean,
he was not only
who we trade him for, too.
He got moved completely out of the rotation.
Yep.
So anything's possible. But yeah, I agree that it would be weird. But I still never know with this team. Yeah. Hey, shout out
I
to
just
the
hope
chat.
They don't move him for like a veteran that kind of expedites this building process. Because remember, there's been talks that, I don't want to get too far ahead of the conversation, but there's talks that they were trying to go after a Jeremy Grant. I don't want to see us include Cam in that type of deal. I think we talked about it off screen. Jeremy Grant has the higher floor, but Cam, I think, by far has the highest ceiling. And I think we're still in a position where we should be bringing in high potential or players that have high potential and not necessarily look at a player's floor right now. The floor, I think, is a strategy for teams that are already in contention, trying to get to a championship, and they just need somebody to come in and fill a specific role. But I think with Cam, the potential he has is a lot that he can do outside of just being a 3-and-D player, that I feel like we should really keep him in-house, keep him in the building, and see if we can cultivate him.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I've even though I have labeled him a disappointment so far, Cam, I've always been a fan of his. Actually, when he was at Duke, he was the best shooter of the three by far. There was even moments, and he was a good defender. There were even moments there where I was like, hey, could this guy actually be the better of the three players? So
coming in, he was top 3. Ja came out of nowhere. It was supposed to be Zion, RJ, and Cam as the top 3 picks, and then Ja just catapulted up draft boards. And then there were some motor concerns with Cam and him not really showcasing his full or his best abilities out there at Duke, and that's why he ended up dropping down to 10. But heading into that season, Cam was top 3, arguably.
Yep, he was. Yes, he was. And I do look. I love that we acquired a young guy whose best days are ahead of him, has a high ceiling. I mean, he's a lottery pick. That is excellent that we added that. Because then that's basically not doing what you were worried about, which is bringing in another veteran, loading us up with old guys, old guys. Yeah.
I'm getting to that point where I'm considered an old guy. I'm older than most of these guys.
Hey, that's right.
Some of them are my little brother's age.
It's weird when that starts happening, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Hey, salute to Bodega Wi-Fi. Thanks for joining us, brother. Quiet Money, Lifestyles of the Savvy Saver, Daniel Rosario, White Falcon. Anyone else you want to shout out?
My bad. You caught me mid-sip.
Mid-sip.
Salute to Jason M. We surveyed 100 people once again. CL Kenrick, Quiet Money. Pretty much a lot of the names you mentioned. Salute to you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, excellent. Oh yeah, please, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and to the Knicks-Verse or to Sports Vibes TV, please do so and turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live and when we drop our videos. We're constantly dropping videos, and give the thumbs ups and drop your comments later on. If you guys didn't have any thoughts after the game, after the stream is over, just pop them in there. We read them all, and often comment on them. Let's see what else. What are we going to move to? We're going to move on to the next topic, which is, now that we've done this trade, what should the Knicks do next? I just threw these 3 needs up here, but we could talk about them. I'd love to hear from the chat what you guys think about this. I think number 1 primary, and it's been for quite a while still, is point guard. We still need to resolve our starting point. I should be more specific, starting point guard. But we still need to resolve that.
Well, right now we don't have any of our point guards, so point guard should still be number 1. We mentioned it at the beginning of the show. Kemba and Rose are out, and we're hoping Quis can develop into that point guard. But right now we still need a point guard, starting or backup.
Absolutely. And I put Miles Turner and Jeremy Grant's images here just because they're representative of these type of players. Doesn't mean that we're pushing for this or anything. We've already talked about those two particular guys, but I put them in here because they still are an area of need. A stretch five, which we don't have. We don't have any. None of our bigs can shoot other than Taj can really do anything offensively away from the basket, to be really specific, shooting wise. So they can't stretch the defense. And in general, our offense has been, sputtering of late because our defense has actually been coming on strong, but we haven't been scoring enough buckets. So our shooting, we still need to somehow add some more shooting to this team. Is there what are your which one do you want to tackle first?
Well, the highest on my list would be point guard. And I think if you look at the assets this team still has, we can go out there and get a big name point guard if the front office really wanted to go that route. We have Obi. You mentioned that he's being blocked by Julius Randle. We can we can put him as part of a trade if we want to go out there and get a point guard, or we can also use him and dangle him as trade bait for a Miles Turner. But me personally, I think we should be trying to go after a starting point guard, whether that's, Foxy always mentions DeJounte Murray. You have SGA, you have De'Aaron Fox, even though I'm not the biggest Fox fan. But if we're going to try and add more talent, especially at that point guard position, I think that's where we should have our focus on right now. Stretch five is definitely an area of concern, but I think we can find a stretch five and not have to go out and spend what we need to spend in a Miles Turner, or invest the kind of assets we would have to invest to go and get a Miles Turner. Maybe if you look at some of the reports, they're saying Mo Bamba can be available for a first round pick. Maybe we can trade a future first. Reset the market with the Cam Reddish trade. So let's follow up on that market, bring in a Bamba, and see how we can operate with Mitch and Mo, and see if we can even pawn off maybe Nerlens Noel on the Magic if we, sweeten the pot just a little bit. But me personally, I try to go after a starting caliber point guard first and then follow it up with a stretch five. And I think if you go and get the stretch five, you're just gonna, add more shooting as well. So it kind of helps you cover that base as well.
Yeah, that is actually those two are linked, 2 and 3, because the whole point of a stretch five is to add more shooting. But it wouldn't just be a stretch five to just have a big guy who can shoot. He'd also have to give you some of that rim protection.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that Thibs and the Knicks love about Miles Turner. He does give you that. He's a different style of shot blocker than Mitch and Nerlens. He's a little more like Nerlens, but he definitely. I mean, he's an excellent shot blocker. So he would be an interesting addition. However, the cost for him is always the issue. The Pacers.
If we're gonna move Obi, I'd rather move Obi for a point guard and solve that than just move him for a stretch five. I feel like you can go in and look and find reasonable centers that can provide that type of offense for you, whether it be free agency or a smaller move, like I mentioned in the Mo Bamba.
So who else other than well, let's run it down. Okay, so potential point guards out there. You mentioned
DeJounte Murray. You got SGA if you want to put him at point guard. De'Aaron Fox. I mean, there's been some rumblings about Donovan Mitchell. I know a lot of people say he's not really a point guard, but if you have the opportunity to go out there and get a Donovan Mitchell, are you going to say, no, I don't want to bring him in because he's not a quote unquote point guard? I'd make the move and put him out there and see if they can make it work. You got that many talented players out there on the floor. I'm pretty sure they can figure a way to play together. I mean, Team USA does it all the time.
Yeah. Hey, Fife just contributed here a super chat. My boy Jalen Brunson.
Brunson's another option, but if he's gonna be a free agent, I'd rather us explore him in free agency than give up assets and then have to then spend the bag on him. I don't want to spend
twice. Unrestricted, right?
Yeah, but if you look at the Dallas Mavericks cap situation, they're not going to have the money to give to him, give to, Finney Smith. So they're probably not going to retain him. So even though he's restricted, I see him moving on from the Mavericks.
Is restricted. He is restricted.
Is he? Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. I keep forgetting. I know that I think he is actually restricted.
I can help you out on that.
Yeah. Jalen Brunson, Here's the thing. And I'm going to just put it out. Whatever we do, it has to be with the goal of developing a championship contending team.
Unrestricted.
Okay, good. So then we don't have to give up assets to sign them. But we need to create cap space, though. So we're not in that situation like that we were last season. So I always ask myself, so is Jalen Brunson the point guard who's going to take you to the promised land?
No.
Is SGA?
Potentially.
DeJounte Murray?
Potentially. Even though he's been killing. Was it you that sent the stat that he's been killing over the last 4 or 5 games? And
it was JD.
The Spurs have JD, but the Spurs have only won one of those games.
Yeah. And that's because the dude can't hit the three. He had a chance to actually win the game last night or the night before for the Spurs, and he couldn't hit the three. And that's tough. You know, so that means when you're in crunch time and your lead guard can't give you that long ball, it limits you. It limits your options. Fox
it does, but then if you look at this roster, you have him out there on the court with players like RJ and Cam. You know, I'd be fine giving the ball up to one of those guys in a crunch moment. Well, Cam hasn't shown enough, but Cam has the skills that says, okay, if he's able to develop, he can at least develop into that type of player that can create his own shot and get you a bucket. And RJ has shown us that this season that he's been able to do it. So even though DeJounte Murray can't hit the three, and that's one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like De'Aaron Fox, there's certain intangibles that Murray is still able to give you, and the fact that he's a great defender at the point guard position. He has size as well, and he can rebound. So yes, he can't knock down the three, but he does provide, he does benefit the team in other areas out there on the court that would allow me to overlook the 3-point shooting and hope that he can get better out there shooting the three.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't see Pop and the Spurs trading him. I mean, why would they trade him? It's not like they have a guy on the bench or in the second unit who can step in and replace him. Kind of like what we're seeing with the Kings. The Kings have Halliburton, which is why they're probably even considering trading Fox. Why would you trade your best player when you don't have someone to step in to fill his shoes, and you're already in the rebuild mode? So it doesn't make sense. I know people salivate about the DeJounte Murray and everything, but I don't think he's available. I think, and it brings us back to this, Quis. You and I have been talking about this for a while. Like, there really aren't that many young point guards with high upside that can actually be a piece to a championship at all. I mean, that's why you and I liked Lonzo. We liked what he could give you.
Yep.
His size, his shooting, his defense. His defense. Yeah, look what's happened with the
basketball
Bulls.
IQ.
High basketball IQ. Very high basketball IQ. And I love that he fixed his 3-point shot. He was not a good 3-point shooter when he started in this league, and he fixed it. Murray's been around it now. Like, Murray should have done something with his 3-point shot. But who else is there? There really aren't that many. So you're gonna have to cut a corner somewhere.
Good young point guards are like elite quarterbacks. They don't become available too often. Same thing with offensive linemen, elite offensive linemen. They don't hit the open market too often. We're
in that era now. You're absolutely right. An elite point guard, an elite NBA point guard is equivalent to an elite quarterback in the NFL. And you basically can't really win. You're not gonna be one of the final 4 teams left if you don't have an elite point guard of some kind. In some way, either they're an elite defender, in some way they're an elite point guard. And we saw it last year.
But Murray's an elite defender, so that's why I overlook him not being a great 3-point shooter. He's also an elite rebounder.
Yeah, but as Best of Worst says, again, Murray is not available.
Hey, we don't know that. We
true.
Assume he's not available, but we aren't in those rooms. There's a lot of players that have been moved and we never thought they were available. I made a video saying Kevin Knox for Cam was a possibility last year, and people told me that was not going to happen. It was impossible. The Hawks would never do that. So the fact that we saw it get done is, you never know how things can change.
Yep. Actually, Foxy, the pregame show right before the trade happened, Actually, I think it was Eric Liu. He actually asked us. He says, "What about Cam Reddish to the Knicks?" And we went into. We go, well, maybe Knox and that Charlotte pick. That's exactly the deal that happened. Yeah. All right. So stretch fives. Again, there aren't that many.
You got Turner, Valanciunas, Bamba.
I like Valanciunas. I like him.
They re-upped with him though, so I don't know if he'll be available.
Yeah.
He's another solid big.
Very solid big. Very solid big. And shooting. It's gonna be interesting. I think we will probably add, if anything, let's say we're not able to add a point guard or a stretch five during this trade window. I think we will add some kind of shooting of some kind. I have a feeling shooting with that can defend. I should have put that on there.
Well, we did. Cam.
Yeah. Cam. Yeah. That's true. That's true. That is true. Unless we flip him.
And technically, we did it 2 times. We did it 2 times fold because we kept Grimes. So now we kind of doubled up our defense by keeping Grimes and bringing in Cam, and doubled up our shooting by keeping Grimes and adding Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got about 100. We have 170 people in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are going to preview the Hawks game soon. I can't even remember anymore. I think so. All these blurring together. There are some point guards about, like, there's Dragic. He's out there possibly.
I mean,
stretch fives. You said Mo Bamba. There's also
Turner, Valanciunas. I can't think of any other that are available right now.
Kelly Olynyk.
Oh yeah, Olynyk. He's a backup.
He's a backup. I mean, let's think. We still have.
Well, we have Mitch as a starter, so yeah, true. You're right. We should be looking at backups as well. Because Bamba, if you make a move for Bamba, I'm not starting him off rip. I'm still going to allow Mitch to start it and have Bamba come off the bench. Okay.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yes,
haven't been able to say that much this year.
Facts.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, let's now we're going to move in. We're going to talk about an article that Tommy Beer put out last night, and he tweeted about it.
Before we get into it, one quick thing. Sure. They mentioned Christian Wood as well as a stretch big.
Christian Wood. That's right. We talked about him before. We should.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah.
Salute to Dennis Young. Want to give him a shout out for that.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis, brother. Absolutely. Yes. Hey, Christian Wood. So it's interesting. How old is he? He's 28.
I think he might be younger than that. 28 might be old.
Oh, good. I hope he's younger. I think he
had like a 3-year contract to start, and then let's see how old he is. Christian Wood age. Yeah, 26.
26.
Younger than Julius.
That works. That totally works. All right, now we're going to talk about this proposal that Tommy Beer puts out, and it's interesting. I can't wait to hear your feelings about this. So he tweeted this out late last night with an article. Tommy Beer said, which side says no? Kings receive Julius Randle, Kemba Walker, Nerlens Noel, Deuce McBride, a future first-round pick, and a pair of second-rounders. Knicks receive De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley. Is it time for moving Julius Randle? Now, he can't be traded until February 3rd. So there's only a week.
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's ask this question. Let's ask this question. Do we believe that Julius Randle could be a key part of a championship team? Not necessarily lead it. Not the 1A or even 1B. He could be a 2 or a third, the 3 on that team. But do we think he has the mental makeup to be that guy?
I need to see him in the playoffs again before I can really come to a conclusion. Because so far, I would say no. To see that the way he's been responding to some of the adversity this season, to me, I would say no. But I would like to give him another shot in the playoffs to kind of see if he could be someone that we can build around, and not necessarily build around, but be a key part of building a championship contender. I don't think he'll ever be a number one, but the jury's still out on whether he can be a number 2 or number 3. And I saw, he didn't have the greatest game against the Mavericks, but he was solid. He played within the offense and the team still won. We saw him as somewhat of a secondary piece on the court with RJ going off and doing his thing. So I think he can still be an option. We just have to see more. I think the jury's still out on Julius Randle. He had a phenomenal year last year, and this year we need to see him in the playoffs again and see how he responds with a better supporting cast. I think last season we played great defense, but I think we have better talent on the roster this year, and we're also getting a year of additional development between 4 players like RJ, 4 players like Quick, 4 players like Obi. So I think we're in a better space in terms of talent. The issue this season has just been us trying to gel. And if we're able to get into the playoffs, which I think is still well within our reach, then we'll be able to get or draw a better conclusion as to what Julius Randle will be under the pressure of a playoff series.
You were much kinder than I thought you were going to
be. Listen, I don't know if it's time necessarily to give up on Julius Randle, but after a performance last year, he has the talent. We just have to see what he's doing, what he'll be able to do if we're putting better talent around him. And we did that bringing in Cam, RJ starting to get better. And we saw Julius Randle can stay within the offense, take a back seat, and still contribute. It's just his effort. The effort level is what really pisses fans off. The lack of hustle, lackadaisical play, not going after rebounds, consistent turnovers. If he's able to just cut a lot of those things out, a lot of that is correctable. That's what's so frustrating watching Julius Randle. A lot of those things are, correctable, whether it be Julius Randle correcting them or Tibbs correcting them. So I think he can still contribute and be a member of this team and help us try to get to where we need to go. But I know for a fact he's not going to be the number 1 option. We just still have to, give him some time, I guess, add some more pieces to this team and see what he can do this season in the playoffs. And if we see that he comes up short again, then definitely move him. At that point, you got to get rid of him.
Yeah. Here's my feeling about it, and you already know it because we talk often, and JD. So here's my feeling about this. I think I'm ready to move on from Randle, and I'll tell you why. Since Game 3 of that playoff series against the Hawks, he has been nothing but a disappointment, and the team actually went out and tried to bring in reinforcements to make his life easier on the court. They brought in Kemba, Fournier to add more spacing. It's like, and we drafted guys who can all shoot, who can all defend. And still, Randle hasn't been able to even turn. He hasn't even returned at all anywhere near to the player that he was last season. He's regressed tremendously. And the worst part about it is he got way too in his head. He cracked under the pressure. He cracked under the pressure in the playoffs. And now he's cracked under the pressure in regular season. And this is his team. Imagine when it's not his team. Like, is he going to be the right kind of, like apex level role player? If that even is a thing. Like, I have become disenchanted with him. And just so you guys know, if you guys don't know my history with Randle, I was the very first person to come out and say Julius Randle will be an all NBA player next. This was last season. I put out a whole video explaining my rationale of it with like 3 months to go in the season. So I love his game. I mean, he gave us one of the most incredible seasons last season. Only player ever in the history of the NBA to score 24, 10, 5 assists, and shoot 40% from the 3-point line. The only other player ever to do that was Larry Bird in his MVP season. So I love Randall, but I don't know where the fact that he's allowed himself to regress to this level is very troublesome for me. So it makes me think he's not the guy, and maybe we should really look at moving on from him and try and maximize the value that he has as much as possible, which is possibly through a trade. Well, right now it is through a trade. That's the only way it would be. I don't know. I mean, you give him like therapy.
Yeah,
I mean,
might need it.
Hey, in baseball, I haven't heard about it in basketball, but in baseball, sports psychology is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. They have Ben Simmons going to one over there in Philly.
Yeah. So maybe I'm just saying, you know what? The clock is ticking on him. Clock is ticking.
Definitely.
And we have RJ, we have a lot of youth, we have Obi. I would not include Deuce in this trade, like Tommy put here. His art, you guys should read his article.
We include Deuce. We really have no options when it comes to point guard as in the future. Well, Quick, but outside of Quick, we really wouldn't have anything.
Yeah,
I think, and even with Quick, it's still a big debate within the Knicks fan base as to whether or not he's a point guard. So if you want me to be objective and take a step back, you would still say we don't have a bona fide point guard on this roster if we move Deuce. At least we know Deuce can run.
Well, we'd be getting back Fox.
Oh, I'm bugging.
Keith just wants to get rid of Randall so badly. He's just like, for Begley.
Yeah, we'll move Randall. We'll get rid of Kemba Walker's contract, and we'll also get rid of Nerlens Noel's contract. To me, that's the big bonus. Free those, get those guys out of here and get that cap space back.
Yeah.
But that probably also tells you I'm not the biggest fan of De'Aaron Fox. It completely went right over my head.
The thing I love about De'Aaron Fox is, man, his athleticism. He would immediately be the most athletic player on this team. I'd love to see him out there with Obi, on the break, and RJ. It'd be electric. It could be very electric. Now, of course, his defense would have to step up. He'd have to be a more controlled player. We wouldn't need the player that he actually is with the Kings. We need a more refined version of that. And we got the coach who can do that. Thibs can actually do that. He has great history with cultivating great point guard play. So, I mean, it could be interesting. I'm not 100% on it.
Cultivating great point guard play. He got Derrick Rose. I can coach Derrick Rose and turn him into an MVP. That was on Derrick Rose and his skill. I don't know if that has. We're gonna accredit that to Tibbs though. Rose came into the league.
Still happened on his watch.
Point guard.
It still happened on his watch.
True.
At least he didn't get in his way. Let's put it that way.
He's getting in a few players' way on this team. That's for sure.
Yeah. I'm bummed by what's happened with Obi. For sure. I hope that something like that can change.
George, imagine if we had Kenny Atkinson as the coach and we got Cam. I feel a lot more confident that we would be able to get Cam to reach his full potential if we had a guy like Kenny Atkinson. But hopefully he can get into some gym sessions with Johnny Bryan, work on his game and things like that. But I'm not too confident that Tibbs is really the right coach to get the most out of some of these younger guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear it. And there's a lot of people that share that sentiment. And I totally see the rationale with it. Absolutely. Derek, thank you for your contribution, brother. Respect you, but I know you're not Randall fans. We got to hold our players down. We want to ship Randall out already after 1 year. What legit help he's gotten? Come on. Hey, you know what? His performance is only due to him. I mean, he's the only one holding himself back. The offense is constructed for his benefit. The players that were put around him were for his benefit. I mean, you saw the conflicts he and Kemba were having in those first 10 games. I mean, I think in a lot of ways, he's had it easy, and he hasn't really fully taken advantage of it. Now, can he turn it around? He's still young. Absolutely. Maybe he does need a little, to go sit on the couch somewhere, talk to somebody, work through this, and unlock that superstar that is within him that he showed us the flashes of last season. So I'm open to a deal. I'm open to a deal because I don't believe that he is the guy who can bring us the ring. That's why I'm open to it. That's it.
Yeah. Derek must not, Derek's my guy, but he must not have been listening. I was on Randall's side for this.
I know.
Debate.
I think Derek joined us a little later. I think he caught us midstream. Yeah. I also said I was the guy who said, Randall should be an All-NBA guy and all this. Yeah. We got another super chat. Thank you guys so much for the contributions, man. Drop Deuce off, and I would do it. Yes. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Sometimes, look, you can't win in this league if you don't suffer a little bit of pain in the trade. There's no trade where you're the one who benefits and then the other team gets totally hosed. It's not baseball.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are too smart. All these front offices in general,
right?
Usually. All right, let's move on to the. This was great. This was a great discussion. Just something to put out there. It might be time. I'm interested. I know that I will say this. That it is within the realm of possibility that Julius Randle does get traded. Put it in there. All right. The Knicks play the Hawks in 4 minutes.
George, Savvy Saver asked the question. They said, gotta go, fellas, but keep it up. Post game, question mark.
Yes, there will be a post game. Absolutely.
Not a stream, though, but you're going to upload.
Yeah, I'm going to upload.
Edit?
Yeah, after the game. I record it and I'll upload it tonight. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll win this game. This would be awesome. Probably get back over 500.
I'm going to the Hornets game, so imagine going into that game on a win streak. Man.
On MLK Day, that's going to be a fun game.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game.
LaMelo.
I want to see what jersey they wear.
LeVar will be there.
He might. Yeah, I never thought about it that much. I didn't even think about that.
I want to see LeVar there with the Knicks jersey. Yeah. The Hawks are on a losing streak right now. They've lost 4 in a row, and they don't have Capella tonight. They don't have Gallinari, I believe, but Trey is playing, and Knox is available for them. The Knicks,
that'd be crazy. I want to see Knox on the court so we can bust his ass.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Right? Salute to Kevin Knox. Best wishes to him over there at Atlanta, but he got to take a. He's an op today.
Absolutely. Yeah, salute to him, man. Salute to him. Here we go. Here's the injury report. Cam is out, unfortunately. Kemba's out. Kemba even stayed in New York. Didn't travel with them. Clint Capella's
it gets
out.
weirder and weirder with that situation.
Yeah.
It sounded like he was on the cusp of returning, and now they're ruling him out before the game. It's a weird position for us to be in right now because we need him to get on the court if we want to move on from him.
Especially since, the way that Thibs was giving the updates on Kemba made it sound like he was so close. Like 4 games ago.
Yep.
He sounded close. So
now he's not traveling with the team.
Yeah.
And we still don't know what's wrong. we just know he has a sore knee.
Exactly. And that was our main concern with Kemba as your starting point guard all along.
That was our main concern of having 2 point guards that are injury prone, and we've been dealing it with the entire first half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so
I want to see how many games where we had both Kemba and Derrick Rose available for this squad, and what our record was in those games. That'd be a nice little nugget to find.
That'd be good to look up. I can't even remember now. We had him. So the first 20 games, they were definitely together.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was benched.
And then when he came back, Derrick Rose wasn't available.
Right. That's the reason.
So I guess the first 20.
Yeah. It was just 20 games. So we got it. It was 20 games they were available. Yeah. And we weren't doing well. That was when the team was struggling, when they were both available. But that's a lot of it is because the team was struggling figuring out the roles for everybody. Kemba was struggling defensively. He wasn't playing his game offensively. Fournier wasn't hitting his buckets. Randall had regressed. RJ got off to a poor start, then had a awesome 5 games and then fell off the table and he got sick
again. Yep.
Yeah, got sick. So it's been a lot of lineups have not been there. Thibs has had to deal with a lot of inconsistency in terms of who's been available for him night in, night out. But that being said, he should have made the move and just started IQ and Rose as the starting backcourt from the very beginning. Once he realized Fournier and Kemba weren't doing it. Yeah. Should have done that, man. What do you think? You think we're going to pull this game out tonight?
We better win this game.
Yeah,
definitely. We can't do a trade with them. Have the Hawks fans going crazy, and then they come and beat us. No way. We got to win this game. They're reeling. This should not be a get right game for them. We're on a win streak. They're on a losing streak. Let's make sure at the end of this game, those things remain true.
Absolutely. But teams are weird.
Yep. This team especially, no identity. We don't know what we're gonna get. Is Jekyll, Hyde.
Yeah, we don't know.
So hopefully we don't get the Hyde version of this squad.
Yeah. Now, hopefully RJ will deliver another solid effort.
That comes to your point about Julius Randle. You said what happens when Julius Randle, isn't at the forefront of this team and has to take a step back. Will he play better? I think we'll be able to see that for the rest of this season if RJ continues to elevate his play. If he becomes the forefront of this team and kind of alleviates some of the pressure off Julius Randle, I think we'll see a better version of Julius Randle. I think we see Julius Randle at his best this season when he has somebody that can go out there and help take some of the scoring burden off of him. So I think we'll be able to see if RJ continues, to play like he's been playing in recent games. I think the game will be a lot easier for Julius Randle as RJ starts to attract more and more attention.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. It could only benefit Julius in the long run.
In the long run,
yeah. And I think maybe he lost sight of that. I'm sure he never wanted RJ to not do well. But when you're about to take your free throws and you're hearing MVP chants for another player on your team, and then you're struggling.
The Garden is petty for that.
The Garden is petty, and there's booze and all that stuff. It gets in your head, but that's where you have to be strong. That's where I always say RJ has the mental makeup of the alpha number 1 leader. Does he have the skills to match it? I hope. I'm not sure. It's looking
we've seen RJ lash out on fans as well. It's just
that one time.
Julius Randle lashed out on his own fans, which is mind-boggling.
That's what I'm saying. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling, man. I don't know. This is going to be a tough game. I think this game is tougher than we'd like it to be. Trey,
it'll be a hard-fought fight, but I still think we got to get this W. So another
thing is, they don't have Capella, so that's the one thing.
That's big.
That's a big thing.
Mitch better feast.
Yes. And Randall better feast.
I want to see Mitch feast. We know Randall's going to get his. I want to see what Mitch is going to do.
I want to
give me double-digit rebounds, give me double-digit points, and give me 2 blocks.
There we go. Yes. And Mitch has been coming. Also, he's another player who's been coming on. So we've had Mitch coming on lately, Fournier coming on lately, Quickly coming on lately, Burks, RJ. I mean, it's finally stuff's happening with this team, which is nice. It's like we're coming out of this darkness that we've been in.
No, we're starting to percolate.
There we go. Percolate.
Yo, that word will be part of my vocabulary for the rest of my life. So, shout out to Clyde.
Shout out to Clyde for that. Shout out to Clyde, brother. I want to see 30-32, Randall and RJ tonight. Both guys get over 30.
Both of them have 30 points? Yeah. All right.
That's what I want to see.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask.
I think we'll see both. I think we'll see both of them get at least 20. 30 might be a stretch.
I would love 20 should be the bare minimum. Put it that way. But yeah, I'd like to see a big explosion. I want to see RJ continue this run. I want to see him go for like 5, 6, 10 games where he's just killing it. He's locked in, man. I should have put up this. I tweeted it out yesterday, actually last night. RJ in the past. Where is it? Here we go.
I think it was.
The past 2 games, RJ's averaging 31.5 points per game on 7 of 11 3-point shooting. That's almost 64% from the 3-point line. He's hit 25 of 42 field goals, almost 60% in field goals, averaging 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and youngest Knick in franchise history. to score 30 plus back-to-back games. So let's go for third. Let's go for 3 in a row. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Thank you, Lex, for holding it down for us. Bodega, Derek, Geraldine McIver. Welcome. Yep. I didn't see you there before.
Salute to all you guys. Appreciate the support.
To everybody.
Had a strong showing today.
Yes. Yes.
How many do we have in chat? I can't even see that. I'm saying we got a strong show, and I don't even know.
Yeah,
I'm just assuming. It seems pretty active in the chat.
221.
Hey!
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice.
Was that a round of applause?
Yes,
I heard it.
I heard it.
Right,
perfect.
Good.
Oh, you couldn't hear it?
No, I can't. When I play the roadcast, I really can't hear what's going on. Only you guys.
That's funny because it sends.
I got to figure out
one audio signal out. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, great. Well, this is I'm George from Into the Knicks-Verse and Quis from Sports Vibes TV. Please subscribe to our channels if you haven't done so yet, and follow us on Twitter. We're posting stuff all the time, and also keep checking. We alternate usually the pregame shows live when we go live between our 2 channels, and I drop post-game recaps after every game, usually almost after every single game. Those are recorded. I don't go live. And watch out for any news.
You don't go live yet.
Don't go live yet. Yes.
One day we're going to take the pregame show and we'll make it a postgame show as well.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun.
Once I finally get some time off work.
Oh, actually, what did you mention? You to do a watch-along.
Yeah, we should do a watch-along. Yeah, today would have actually been a good day for a watch-along on like a weekend like this, Saturday, Sunday.
It would have been good, especially if Cam was available to play.
It was available, yeah. That would have been lit.
That would have been nice. That would have been nice, yeah. All right, man. Well, again, subscribe, thumbs ups, and drop your comments if you haven't done any yet. And also, we will see you around the Knicks-Verse.